O thou Arjuna, mastering first the senses, do thou slay this thing of sin, destructive of wisdom and knowledge. So realize that's what we must do. If you're going to will and act a victory, you've got to slay this thing, desire. Because as long as desire is in you, you will be attached to outward consciousness, and victory is not attained in outward worldly consciousness. Victory is within, in the intuition of the soul. So it's very important before we start to know the greatest enemy which stands in our way to victory is desire. Therefore, have one desire. You know what that is? You all know. To know God. Let that be back of all your activity, is to know God. And there's a reason. And the reason is this. We come to action or acting. Action which takes us to victory must be the right action. Action must be guided by soul, not outward consciousness. And if you are filled with desires, your action will not be guided by soul consciousness. It will be guided by worldly consciousness, which does not give us final victory. The Master has said in his perception, Heavenly Father, I will reason, I will, I will act, but guide thou my reason, will, and activity to do the right thing that I should do. Now you can see action is very important in victory, but it must be right action. And therefore, our first necessity in carrying out our plan for victory is to know God, to make the contact with God, and before we start any project or action, get the contact of God at this point. See your wonders with him. Ask him, as the Master says, guide thou me to do the right thing. Now, if those people who bought those motels had done that, I know many of them would not have bought those hotels. Because God is mindful of his own. And he will not allow you to fail if you have confidence enough in him to first get his contact. First know him. Then your action will be right. Most people, as you know, act as automatons. They are guided by what? Environment, habit, latent impulse. And we've been all over this before. Ordinary people, as Master used to say, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Good time, go to sleep, get up and do the same thing over and over. Aren't they automatons? Is that action guided by the soul? Well, I don't think it is. Because in that getting up and breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they're filled with so many desires, there's no end to it. So that even now they haven't got any bank account left. There's so many bills outstanding, and they're buying this, that, and the other thing, and a million things. So there's nothing left but, we get by somehow. But that's not real action. Real action is to secure. First thing we must do now, realize in acting and willing to victory, is to secure the guidance of God through God contact. And then, having that, we must perform the second thing, which is the use of will. These are very important things. And so most people, as I have said, act automatically by these, being influenced by these three things: environment, habit, latent impulses. That's what they think they exercise free will. They're going to do what they like. They're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But they have it because of the impulse behind them. So they don't do as they like. That's automatic action. And they have cottage cheese sometimes. Cottage cheese, then the whole thing is complete. But the right action is soul action, not automatic action. When you sit down, and this is very important, make contact with God. Listen, you can't go wrong. I remember I was out in the storm, as I've told you many times. Master used to like to have me tell the story. I won't go into it, but I was out in the storm, and it seemed hopeless, and I remembered his words. when you're in the ohm vibration, nothing can touch you. And I looked there, and boy, I was ready to look. At least I had that sense. And then I felt in my heart a great pang. That's what moves God. I could have looked there all night. I don't think he'd have moved. But I felt in my heart a great desire for his guidance. And then the Master knew of it. And to make a long story short, I was saved. And the Master knew all about it. Why? Because I had contacted the place of the Most High at this point. And Master, being one with the great omniscience of God, knew it. And things worked out, and I was saved. He knew it in the instant. Later I had proof of it. And so you see, the most important thing is to perform independent action whereby you contact the soul within. Contacting the soul, which is God in us. We must come out right. And so independent action must be utilized as we travel this road to ultimate victory, which is the goal of life, our oneness with God, and the realization of our divinity. We can be successful in life, in the arts and in business, but if you don't have God, it isn't success. The Master used to say you can be unsuccessful in anything. But if you have God, if you've attained success in knowing Him, whether you're a success or failure in the ordinary sense of the world, you are the greatest success if God is with you. Realize that.